just finished work. I'm kind of exhausted. However, in the interest of sharing with you each step of the way of this aquatic project that I've got in mind, I use what energy I got left before I have a nap to show you. Just received the box, and it looks like it's the driftwood. This was a box off eBay, so I wasn't too sure on the size, but this could be cut down. You have to be careful with aquatic. You have to be careful with driftwood. Sometimes people do it for you before they sell it. Other times you've got to do it, and that is, don't put this in the aquarium right away. Why? Just wood and water. Wood is soak it up, right? Well, there's something called tannin, and the tannins will leak out of the water, out of the wood into the water, and stain your water brown. Otherwise known as tannic acid. Not necessarily that detrimental to occupants usually. Sometimes it can be, depends how sensitive they are. But generally, you want your water to be relatively clear to be able to see what the hell's going on. And this can really darken your water, like tea color. That's what it is in tea. You drink your tea, that's tannic acid. It's leached out of the leaves and it comes out of the wood and colors the water. So there's this piece. It's pretty cool. I think with this we'll be able to go in the enclosure. I might saw half it a bit off. We'll see. I'm gonna hopefully I'll get the enclosure tomorrow, and I'll use the enclosure in front of me and put these bits of wood in to brainstorm an eventual aquascape. I'm going to be using things like Java fern, Java moss, and Christmas moss. Probably, although I'm not entirely too sure yet. I've got a list in mind of plants and do a little bit more research. Java fern is an incredibly hardy plant. But that'll be a separate video, how to look after Java fern. It's I'd like to share right now, but I'll keep this relatively short. So yeah, I thought it was 2 pieces, but it's actually 1 piece. There may be some more driftwood come in. Yeah, I've used driftwood before. So I'm going to get a bucket in a bit, or I'll do it tomorrow. I'm going to have my nap first and just put water in a bucket and put this in a bucket. And, you know, all the tannin's going to leak out of that into the water and change our water and then put more water in again until, do a few changes until the water is relatively clear and it's not staining your water. It's a pretty cool piece of driftwood. I like this. And many little nodules where certain things can be attached. Certain Java moss can be attached as well. I have some ideas. I can picture some ideas of what it looks like already, but really, once I get the enclosure, it'll be easier to picture that. I'll need substrate, so there's something called aqua soil, which is kind of specially treated for aquarium substrate. It's not wise to just have a gravel aquarium. It really isn't good for plants, and it's not good for your occupants. It's not good for quality of the water. Everybody loses out in just the typical, stereotypical gravel aquarium, I think. And is sand that will go over the aqua soil, kind of like a sealant. I'll get more into that in a bit deeper dive in the science of why you should layer your substrate a little bit with sand on top. Java fern doesn't need to be planted into a deep substrate, by the way. It can just grab the nutrients straight from the water, but it will attach itself to very porous materials like this. So on my desk right now is a jar of seed shrimp, and the scuds, if you look at scuds for the aquatic arena, they're doing well. They're going to be bred for helping the ecosystem balance out and be food for the occupants as well. So yeah, this is definitely interesting. I'm gathering more information as I go. Some things in the hobby have changed in the depth of information available, and YouTube is absolutely wonderful for how to. You want to know how to do something in hobbies, craft, and basically making things, creating things, or ins and outs of hobbies like aquatic hobbies, whatever you're keeping, tropical fish or shrimp or aquatic frogs, whatever you're doing, there's going to be a video available definitely wherever you look. I've subscribed to a number of YouTubers which will be put on the, you've seen the scrolling thing, awesome YouTube channels. So I'm going to be adding some of those in that list. So yeah, now how just looking at this and trying to picture how this might rest in the enclosure and where the plants might go on it. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to come together, and if it's a success with what I've got in my mind, it's going to look beautiful. Time will tell. Of course, it's not going to be like that without maintenance. The image I got in my mind will be once a cycle of things have been happening over time long enough. And then the reward will be, if you put the maintenance in to get there, will be a beautiful tank. Initially, a new tank does need water changes. If I get the right balance, I will need very, very minimal water changes. In fact, it would probably be water top-ups due to just general evaporation here and there. I will be using a weak powered water pump just to agitate the surface tension of the water to allow an exchange of gases here and there, so you can get oxygen embedded into the enclosure. Plants will produce oxygen as long as there's light, and it will cause them to use photosynthesis for the light, strong enough light, and produce oxygen. However, they will take in oxygen and produce carbon dioxide at night, some plants. So there's all different balances going on here that may cloud the water, may alleviate the cloudiness. Sometimes if you get like a milky whiteness to water, it can be related to lack of oxygen. It can be related to bacterial blooms as well. You can get water test kits for that. Or you can just, if it's beginning to get a bit stinky, that's probably a bacterial bloom. What you're smelling is a bacteria breaking down things and producing a waste of what is broken down. The bacteria is literally defecating on what once it's had its meal, and that's gas. You know, when you go to the gym and you're in your footwear, you're going at it on the treadmill or maybe the cross trainer, and your feet are sweating. At the end of the day, perhaps your footwear stinks. Well, that's bacteria living in your footwear, in that moistness, in that footwear from your sweat, breaking down things that might be produced in your sweat, that are dirt and grime in your footwear. How can you make them smell fresh? Go stick them in the freezer. It annihilates and kills the bacteria because you're smelling a gas from the bacteria. That's what that is. That's a handy hint. Right? So try that. It does work. You know, let your sneakers, trainers, footwear, whatever you want to call it, dry out after freezing them. Go and stick them in the freezer. And it kills off those bacteria that really producing that stinkiness. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll look forward to doing another video soon. Bye.